space telescopes have an interesting and important history. They're able to see what no human eye could ever dream of seeing, giving us new and groundbreaking information as well as stunning images of the universe. We've all heard of the Spitzer, Hubble, and the newly launched James Webb Space Telescope. But where and when did we start using space telescopes? Why are they important, and how have they evolved over the years? It's important to know the different types of space telescopes. Currently, all space telescopes can be grouped into one of 9 categories based on their primary method of detection. These methods of detection are gamma ray, X-ray, ultraviolet, infrared and sub-millimeter, microwave, radio, particle detection, and the least common gravitational wave. Each telescope can have multiple different instruments capable of different forms of detection. They can also be grouped many different ways, such as the shape of the mirrors. We've all heard of the Spitzer, Hubble, and the newly launched James Webb Space Telescope. The idea for a space telescope was developed by Lyman Spitzer in 1946. Spitzer would petition and push for a space telescope to be built. However, it was years later when the first space telescope was launched in the middle of the space race, named the Orbiting Astronomical Observatory, or OAO for short. It was launched in April of 1966, however failed to work once in orbit. Soon thereafter, in December of 1968, OAO-2 was launched. This time it did operate once in orbit, and continued doing so until January of 1973. The Soviet Union wasn't far behind with the Orion Observatory, which was a part of the Salyut-1 space station launched in April of 1971. The telescope was operated by cosmonaut Viktor Patsayev in June of the same year. Unfortunately, these telescopes weren't made to last. They mostly focused on one target and only lasted for a few months. But in the 1980s, NASA began work on a new project aimed at expanding our view of the universe, finding alien life, taking high-resolution photos, and even helping us study the beginning of the universe. This project birthed what is known as the Great Observatories. It consisted of 4 telescopes: the Hubble Space Telescope, the Compton Gamma Ray Observatory, the Chandra X-ray Observatory, and the Spitzer Space Telescope. Together, these telescopes provided unprecedented spatial and temporal coverage across much of the electromagnetic spectrum: gamma rays, X-rays, infrared, and visible light. These telescopes launched between 1990 and 2003. The first of these was the Hubble Space Telescope, launched in 1990. Hubble, a collaboration between NASA and the European Space Agency, took 13 years and $4.3 billion to complete. Hubble was the first and only telescope designed to be maintained by astronauts, which it has been for many years. Hubble allows us to see into the past by gathering information that took light years to get to us. Over the years, Hubble has undergone several maintenance and upgrade missions, which has kept the telescope running for 34 years. Hubble is still in use and continues to provide us with groundbreaking information about our universe, not to mention stunning images. The second of the great observatories to launch was the Compton Gamma Ray Observatory. This telescope was launched in April of 1991. Its primary purpose was to capture and study gamma rays bursts from distant objects. It allowed us to study the chemical composition of the gamma rays it captured. It gathered groundbreaking information on supermassive black holes, stellar mass black holes, quasars, blazars, neutron stars, and supernova remnants. The end of Compton's life would come after one of its gyroscopes broke. NASA made the decision to deorbit the satellite in November of 1999. Compton would inspire many future space telescopes, the primary of which being the Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope, which launched in 2008 and is still in use today. The Chandra X-ray Observatory was launched in July of 1999. Its primary focus was super-hot objects. These include black holes, supernova remnants, and starburst galaxies, and other exotic objects. The original length of the mission was 5 years, however, after what NASA called exemplary results, the mission was extended. Chandra continues to be in operation to this day. The fourth of the great observatories is the Spitzer Space Telescope. Spitzer is an infrared telescope which launched in August of 2003. Its primary goal was to study the beginning of the universe and exoplanets. Its primary mission lasted 5 years until its nitrogen tank ran low. It operated with limited functionality for another 11 years. Its mission ended in January of 2020 when NASA deactivated it. There's two other notable space telescopes: the Kepler Space Telescope and the newly launched James Webb Space Telescope. The Kepler Space Telescope, nicknamed Kepler the Planet Finder, was launched in March of 2009. Its primary purpose was to discover Earth-sized planets orbiting stars in the Milky Way. Kepler has returned outstanding and groundbreaking results, which is the reason NASA extended its 3.5-year mission. Kepler was deactivated in November of 2018, but it returned so much data that astronomers are still coming out with new information. As of 2023, Kepler has been credited with the discovery of 530,506 stars and 2,778 exoplanets. The James Webb Telescope is the most advanced space telescope to be launched. It's a joint project between NASA, the Canadian Space Agency, and the European Space Agency. After years of delay and over $10 billion spent, the James Webb Space Telescope launched into orbit on Christmas Day in 2021. Its primary purpose is to observe the first galaxies. It can detect light older than any previous telescope. It has a 5.5-year primary mission, a 10-year planned mission, and an expected life of 20 years. This telescope is giving us stunning images and information on how our universe formed after the Big Bang. Overall, space telescopes have given us amazing information that have challenged our understanding of the universe. With more than 90 telescopes being launched, and 26 being still active, our understanding of our universe will only expand thanks to these amazing creations.